Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jackson, your host. We telecast again on this beautiful day as we do our taping today downtown at Fairfield Federal and their East Main Street office here. Beautiful location right here in Main and Broad. Everything happens right around this corner except for the fair that was going on a couple of weeks ago. That was the one thing that doesn't happen, but everything else happens right here with the gazebo. Kind of so much happens right here where we are. So we thank you for joining us today. We're going to begin to talk about one of the really neat social events, and we talk to folks about every year about this. The Lancaster Business and Professional Women's Club have their annual fall fashion show, and it's spring into fall fashion. It will be in a couple of weeks. Saturday, October 28th at 11:30 will be the kind of gathering time, and then at 12 o'clock lunch out at the Lancaster Country Club on Country Club Road. We all know where that is. And it's going to be a fun time. Amanda Everett will be doing the emceeing, the public part of that, and she'll do a super job out there. And with me is Shirley Connor. And Shirley, it's a pretty exciting time for you. You've worked on this so hard, and here we go.
Well, one more year of it.
One more year.
It works out great. We do it for the scholarships. We've managed over the last few years to give away at least 4 every year.
Sure.
One year we did 5.
Sure.
There are $1,000 scholarships to help either students coming directly out of high school, or we give away a mature scholarship for someone who's already in college.
Sure.
So we try and help as many people as we can.
And again, it's a couple of weeks out at the Country Club. October 28th, 11:30 a.m., 12 o'clock will be the lunch and all that going on down there. And this is the Lancaster Business and Professional Women's Club. And tell us about this. I know you're a longtime member, but tell us about the club. What do you meet monthly? How does your organization run?
Yeah, we meet once a month, first Thursday of every month. It's a nationwide club.
Oh.
It's been around since probably about 1919. It started in Ohio, I believe, in 1920.
Okay.
It started our Lancaster branch in 1949.
It's been a long time running.
So it's been here a while. They help with women's rights in the government. A little bit of everything. They've helped pass laws. Done a lot of things, and our group has this big fundraiser every year so that we can help people get that college education and improve their lives a little bit, and we're always happy to help any way we can.
And that's what and she talked about that before. They really give scholarships to mostly young people, 4 or 5 per year, $4,000 or $5,000 scholarships. So this is not an insignificant amount of money. I'm sure this is your big fundraiser here, and this is where
Yes.
it all goes. So you also have a Chinese auction. You have some vendors there. You have a 50-50 raffle. Kind of a fun time. The girls come out and just have a real nice afternoon.
Yeah, all of the models are volunteers.
Yeah.
Some of them are members. Others are just volunteers throughout the community. Others, we've got, I think, 1 or 2 volunteers that were past recipients. So it's a fun time. The 50-50 and the Chinese auction and all that, we have some great prizes to give away. One of the big prizes this year is a weekend cabin getaway in Hocking Hills that was donated. So
that'd be part of the Chinese auction. Yeah. Or an auction.
I think it's one of the auctions.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one, but yeah, it's got all kinds of good things.
Yeah.
Different things going on. We have clothes from Cobby, Rustic Gals, Season and Time. So all nice little trending shops that we're going to be modeling this year, which is different because a lot of years we've done Elder Billman and Penny's and some of your more established traditional stores. And this year we're doing a lot of the new trendy stores, so that'll be fun.
Good. Now, speaking with Shirley Connor. Shirley's doing a little PR for the Spring into Fall Fashion. That's the Lancaster Business and Professional Women BPW Club here in Lancaster, and they've got their 28th annual style show and luncheon going on out at the Country Club. It'll be in a couple of weeks here on the 28th, and I guess even though it's in a couple of weeks, you've probably been working on this for months and months. A lot of women in the club.
For the
have
last
just been-
year, actually.
Yeah, as soon as the one's over, you start thinking
Yes.
ahead, and I guess trying to think what will be the theme, what will be the. What's the hardest part? Maybe coming up with the people who will use the clothes. What businesses you'll use for the fashions.
I think that's probably one of the easier
Really?
parts because
Really?
most of the stores are really cooperative
Yeah.
and they want to be a part of it. Probably the hardest part is coming up with the theme, where we're going to have it, getting the models together.
Yeah.
They'll be down. Actually, I think they were down last weekend to go into the stores and
Get
get
fitted
fitted
and-
for
yeah.
what they're
Yeah.
going to be wearing, because it's a full outfit.
Sure.
It's accessories, shoes, everything. So you see a full outfit when they parade through. It's just like a regular fashion show.
Yeah, and so tickets are $25, and they can. I guess Sherry Martin, you have some information how they can
Yes.
get tickets.
You can contact Sherry Martin at her cell phone number is 740-808-3749, or you can reach her via email at sweetsherryd@yahoo.com. So that's SWEETSHERRYD@yahoo.com, and she will get you hooked up with those tickets.
So it's $25, and that gets you the luncheon that goes on there, and then the opportunity to be involved in the raffle and the Chinese auction, everything that goes on. So it's really just I guess you come and spend a few hours. Assume you're going to spend a few hours there and just have a
Have
fun
a good time. And I have to apologize. I left out one of our shops for modeling, and it's Benisk Boutique. I missed that one, so I want to make sure I get that in there for
Are
them.
most of these places local around here?
Yes, they're all local.
Okay.
They're all local to Lancaster. They're all, like I said, the small trending shops that they're not a big national chain. It's
More boutique-y.
it's all your smaller shops in town. So
I'm sure you've done this long enough that you've seen a lot of places come and go that you used to, and things happen, things change. You know, I can remember just even as a high school kid down there, you walked just a block behind us here or two, and you were on the corner. There were Miladies. I mean, there were wonderful women's clothing places,
Yes.
but things change.
Burdick's Jewelers.
Burdick's, things change there. That you go different places to get. So this is the more of the small boutique kind of places this year.
And Cobby is more of your party plan. It's
Okay.
in-home sales. They're not even there's not a store that you can go to. It's someone is a Cobby representative,
Okay.
and they set up parties, and
Okay.
but they have some excellent clothing and very fashionable clothing. So it's nice to have them.
Does that come up then? People just would say in your group, say, how about Cobby, or how about this? And then folks go look at this place and see what it is and say, would that be up to whatever standards we want to keep? And can they give us and let us use what we need?
Yeah, and what happens is there's committees set up for each different function within doing the style show, like the decorating committee, the model committee, the store committee. So there's a small group of people that go out and talk to the different stores and go out and research it and figure out, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and then bring it all back to the group and we all vote on it.
And I guess I can see how getting the models and getting the folks set up would be challenging. There probably are people maybe daughters, or maybe even people in the club that do that. But how many of those are necessary to run this?
Oh, I think we usually have about a dozen models every year.
And each one has just an outfit.
No, they actually have 3 outfits.
Oh, okay.
We'll do a casual outfit, more of a business type outfit, and then more of an evening going out type
Sure.
outfit.
Sure.
So each one does 3 outfits.
So when somebody signs on for this, they can figure they're gonna have a busy day out there. Huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So the country club would be a beautiful place for that. I mean, it's a nice place. Yes, it is. But you'll decorate it up to the nines and probably start on that a few days ahead of time and get it going. And with whatever the theme is, this is spring into fall fashion.
Yes.
What we see, a lot of flowers, a lot of things of that nature.
I don't know, because I'm not on the decorating committee, so I have no
That's not
idea
yours, huh?
what they're going. Nope, I'm on the PR committee. So.
Whatever it is, it'll be nice. It always has been.
Yes.
And Amanda Everett, she'll do a great job.
Yes.
Very personable girl.
She's wonderful.
Lots of pizzazz and excitement. She's
Yeah, she's
the perfect
wonderful.
one. I know over the years you've had really good people in
Yes, we
in
had
that
one
capacity.
of the news
Yeah,
commentators last year from,
one of the
Sorry.
channels up in
I'm
Columbus.
thinking
yeah.
it was Channel 4.
Yeah, I know over the years you've had
Yeah.
somebody from everywhere. They've come
Yeah.
around, and it always has a little sparkle to it. And Amanda is the latest one to do that, so she's looking
And
forward
here,
to her.
here again, that's a volunteer position,
Sure.
so they're volunteering their time for us because we try to spend as little as possible on doing the show, so that gives us more to give away in scholarships.
Sure. And again, that's important to note, and we talked about it earlier, and you did a good job of denoting that all the proceeds from the BPW show that will be on October 28th, they go to benefit your scholarship fund. And how are those folks chosen? Do they sign up and say, I would request it, and then a group kind of gathers that information and goes through them?
We have a scholarship committee
Okay.
that I have been on for the last few years. I don't know that I'm on it this year, but we send out to all the colleges and all the schools and have them give it out to the students and submit their applications into us. And then we go review those applications and pick out, I'm usually about 10 to 12
Start scaling them down?
applicants that
Yeah.
we'll do interviews with.
Okay.
And then we do have a night where we do interviews with each one, and then out of that we pick the winners for the scholarship.
Is there criteria in terms of what their major must be, or where they go to
Nope.
school, or anything like that?
They have to be a resident of Fairfield County.
Okay.
The only other criteria is just either going to college or being
Sure.
in college. I
Sure.
mean, we don't pick and choose as far as any type of studies, where they're going to go to college. We've had students going to Kentucky, California, wherever they want to
Sure.
go. They just have to be a resident of Fairfield County.
Well, what a nice opportunity! The opportunity to gain $1,000 scholarship. That's huge in a college career. That's something. And then next year they could come back again and apply again.
Yep.
So it's the Spring into Fashion Lancaster Business and Professional Women's Club. It's Saturday, October 28th. Around 11:30, 12 o'clock will be the social hour, and then lunch down at the Lancaster Country Club. Tickets are $25, which includes everything that goes on for that day,
Yes.
including the luncheon. Sherry Martin, 808-3749. Sweet Sherry D at yahoo.com. All the money goes to benefit the scholarship fund. You've done this for a while, and every year I'm sure is just as exciting as
Yes.
last year, huh?
It's a lot of fun.
You look like you enjoy it, and good luck with your group. You do great work
thank
for
you.
women, and always working on women's issues and everything going on.
We try.
Yeah, very good.
We try.
Shirley Connor with the Lancaster Business and Professional Women's Club Spring into Fashion Fall Show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it. Sure. We'll be back on Fairfield Today in just a moment. Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson. We're telecasting from the lobby downtown of Fairfield Federal. And remember, if you have any kind of money needs as we head into the fall time of the year, we've still got football going on. Of course, the fair is long past now. We move into the fall. The winter months are out there. But if you're still looking at perhaps renovating a kitchen, doing anything to your home, any kind of remodeling, fairfieldfederal.com is a great place to start. They have a website that will give you all kinds of information about the local people who make the local decisions, and they've been doing this since 1895. So I'd encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com and start that money search right there. Here in Lancaster and Fairfield County, we are so fortunate within probably where we sit here in the lobby of Fairfield Federal, within a 2-minute walk, you have the Sherman House, you have the Decorative Arts Center, we have the Ohio Glass Museum, and there's a fourth one, but it escapes me at the moment.
Well, the Sherman House and the Georgian.
And the Georgian, that's what I'm thinking of. So
together.
we're almost
Yeah.
in the center of that right now.
Right.
I have Ann Hart-Kiffin, who's the art director of the Ohio Glass Museum. First of all, Ann, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm delighted to talk about glass.
Well, I know you love that, and again, Lancaster, what a place. You know, who'd have thought maybe years ago when they saved the Georgian, and that kind of
Right.
began this renaissance
Yes.
of museums, and we've always had the Sherman House, but everything took on a life of its own, and here we are, major museums, and certainly the Ohio Glass Museum is right up there. A
I think
spectacular
so,
place.
yes.
And you grew up here, as did I. What a wonderful place to be.
Yes, it is. We're very fortunate, I think, to have as many people in this community who are excited about the downtown and what's going on with all of the history of the county.
Yeah. Well, Ann is, of course, the art director down at the Ohio Glass Museum, and their current exhibition, which is a year-long, be going on until August of next year, is a very private collection. This is the name of the exhibition. A very private collection, an exceptionally pristine collection of lovely glass from 1875 to 1920, and we have an array of different pieces here, and with our knowledgeable person here of Ann, who knows what's going. Well, for me, you're very knowledgeable, so you're the one. But I guess the two things we're talking about are pressed or cut glass. Would that be correct?
Well, that's correct, because one succeeded the other.
Yes.
And if you would like me to show this, I
Sure.
didn't bring large dramatic pieces because I just didn't want to carry a whole bunch in and risk dropping.
Ooh.
This is a piece of cut glass, and if you hold these up to the light, you can see the facets. You will always see rainbows. And these were high flint content glasses, or not, high lead content, I should say. And they're cut, and you can feel, Paul, the sharpness of the cutting.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that distinguishes it. During World War I, actually, it became even more popular to do the pressed glass due to the fact that so much lead was going to be used for war efforts. But in 1826, the Bakewell Glass Company started making the first pressed glass, which was actually furniture knobs. So the very first
sure.
pressed glass in America was furniture knobs, little glass knobs. They didn't catch on very well. It took a while. But years later, it was developed into many other things. And this, of course, is a piece of pressed glass. You can definitely tell the difference. People always say, how can you tell?
But when you look closely, it's not even...
when you put them together. The patterns are similar,
Yes.
which is where early American pattern glass gets its name, because the patterns are very similar. But this was made in a mold
Sure.
rather than cut.
Big
So
difference.
that's really the difference.
Yeah.
So pattern glass, the reason it really caught on is because the only people who could afford brilliant cut were people who had money
Sure.
to spend on that kind of thing. So your pressed glass, your pattern glass, is really the poor man's brilliant cut.
And I guess glass has always been, this whole museum thing has been kind of interesting to me. My family, the Jassons, that's why they're Belgian. And that's why they came here, was for glass cutting. That's what brought my grandfather here from Belgium, and eventually his children were born here. And my dad worked in a glass factory when he was just a young person before he got out of that, because that was tough work back then. It was hot. They didn't have any air conditioners turned on. He used to tell me a story where they would work 5 minutes and take 15 off. It was so hot in there.
It was so hot.
But that's how it was
How
in the beginning.
old would he have been when he started working in the factories?
Oh, probably just as a boy, 15, 16, 17,
That is what
and maybe even younger.
this gentleman right here, Lewis Hine, I brought his picture. I don't know whether you can see it clearly or not, but Lewis Hine is the most famous of all the child savers from the industrial era. Children worked in glass factories and actually cotton mills and every kind of factory.
Not many child
imaginable.
labor laws back then.
None to
Yes.
begin with. There were none to begin with. There were people trying very hard, but until Lewis Hine grabbed his camera and started photographing in the factories, he had to sneak into the factories. They couldn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But he actually, along with the other child savers, that's what they were referred to, began to work on the public to have an outcry about this. What actually happened was children were small, and so the reputation is, the story was that they got these children to do the work because they could crawl into small places and they had little fingers. That's true. But they were also easier to be abused.
Yes.
They could receive half of the pay that their fathers received, and in many cases of child workers, they went to work and their fathers were forced out of work.
It took
because
their
you
place.
could hire a child
Cheaper.
for half the price.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of reasons to fight this. This little boy right here, Rob Kidd, is probably the most famous of all of Lewis Hines' children photographed, simply because he was a very beautiful child. He went to work at 12 in a factory, and he never went back to school. And one of the things I like to tell people, and we have this on display downtown, one of our own docents, her father went to work at 11 in a glass factory and never got to go back to school again. Many of the children actually never went, and they were illiterate.
Yeah.
But this exhibit, the reason we tied these two together is because when all this beautiful early American pattern glass was being made, these children were working in the factories.
Sure.
So it's an interesting. Here's the bright side.
Yeah,
is this
and then there
beautiful
was the
glass.
dark side.
Here's the dark side.
Yes.
Is that children worked 15 hours sometimes.
Now, what do we have up here? The green.
That
What
is Northwood glass, and that particular pattern is called peach, and that would have been
See
made in the
that?
late 1800s. Very collectible, and that would have been made in one of these glass factories we're talking about. It's a piece of pressed glass.
Sure.
This piece is older. This is Hobbs Bruckunier, and it's in a series called The Tree of Life. And like many of the series you see, they believe there were over 3,000 patterns. This is why they're hard to identify. They rarely have a name on them. Old catalogs become a very invaluable source of historic information research. But these pieces, there were several made in this series, and some of the, I'm sure you're familiar with Wexford, Anchor Hocking Wexford. They made over 100 different pieces in that pattern.
Yeah.
So the patterns became something that then they would do in a spoon or in a tumbler, in all manner. They would use the same type of pattern. And you can see the little hand down here. Do you see the hand?
Beautiful.
Holding up the Tree of Life. Yes. And here we go. If you look at this, you will see 3 mold lines.
Oh, on the bottom.
And this was
Sure.
made in 3 pieces. Now, perhaps, I'm just saying perhaps, had Heisey made a similar piece, they might have smoothed those out
Sure.
with a hot tool.
Yeah.
But all those things, the more expensive glass had a better lead content, more crystal looking, and more individual work, but they would be more expensive that way. So
Now, what do we have here? Looks like a
I
ship to
just
me. I'm not
love-
sure.
I love this silly thing, and I have to read
Okay.
a little bit. This is a glass battleship, and you'll never guess what actually came in there.
Not candy?
Not candy,
I don't know.
mustard.
Really.
It was begun by a man who had a mustard factory. That's what he
Was
did.
it French's?
No.
Okay.
His name was Flaccus.
Ah.
A company in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Milk glass battleship.
Right, and it became a series of battleships, and this happens to be the Maine. Remember the Maine?
Remember
And-
the Maine? I do.
And this is Uncle Sam riding on the Maine.
see that.
They became extremely popular, especially following the sinking of the battleship Maine in the Havana Harbor in February of 1898, which triggered the Spanish-American War. And here you can see his little patent for that ship. You know, one of the things I like to emphasize is that everything that is beautiful and man-made began on a piece of paper. It was somebody's original idea. We go from paper in the glass-making industry into the mold makers, who were incredible craftsmen. Now it can be done in lasers, with lasers and things, you know, you can make a mold. But back then, this was all, the mold was made by hand.
So this is, again, our knowledgeable person here, Ann Hart
Semi.
Kiffin, who is the art director, the Ohio Glass Museum, and I would simply suggest that if you want more information on this, they have a lot of information on the website about everything that's going on, upcoming things that have gone on. I would say just Google that or use the search engine, just go Ohio Glass Museum, you could find it. And again, we're right in the middle of all of it here with the Georgian, the Glass Museum, the Sherman House, a decorative arts center right here. What a fun place to be involved in what you're involved in right
I
here.
absolutely
Walking distance
love
to
it.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. It's been
Yeah.
a wonderful second career.
Well, you've been doing a great
I
job at
enjoy
this
it.
for a while with the Ohio Glass Museum and Hart Kiffin. This is a very private collection.
Yes.
This is exceptionally pristine collection of lovely glassware from 1875 to 1920, going on right now. It'll be going on through August 26th. But I said, don't put it off because it's easy to let that slip away. Do it
It
now,
is.
and maybe come back later or bring some other folks back, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a great place down there. If you have, I hope everyone has been to the Glass Museum by now. It's a wonderful place. Got great folks like Ann that
And
give
glass
directions down
blowing,
there.
we have glass
Oh,
blowing.
it's
People come in and
classes
blow
and,
glass all the time.
oh,
It's so fun to
Always
see.
something going on down there. It's a very involved place. So Ann, thank you for joining.
Well,
It's
thank
always
you,
a
Paul.
pleasure to have you
It's
here
fun.
and look at all this that's going on around here. And always have great, as a decorative art center, for example, you always have great,
yes.
great items to look at and very visual things and hands-on down there and things to buy. Your little shop down there, just
Beautiful
a lot
show.
going on. So
And we're always looking for volunteers.
very good. And you can find all that information out. Just Google Ohio Glass Museum. So thank you. Good luck with this latest group of glass here. It's
Thank
sure to be
you.
spectacular.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.